There you go.
I do. Hey, Tracy, how are you?
Tracy,
Thank you
hi.
so much to our, Venture Cafe team, Tracy and her team, Angela, and I don't see Emily, but
Emily's over here. Hey.
Emily, these are the folks behind the scenes that are making all of this work. I really appreciate you guys partnering with us to bring this together. I was able to sneak downstairs. We had a lot of folks come in and out live. So it was really wonderful. And just the feedback that people are still talking out in the hallways, about real estate. And it's great to hear those types of conversation. I'm just excited about my partners, especially Miss Najaah Yasmine Daniels. She has been absolutely fantastic, not just tonight, but literally over the last 2 months, whipping Tom and Kevin and I into shape so that we could be ready for this. Our last guest this evening, Dr. Pamela Jolly. Pamela Jolly, I am such a huge fan of yours. We had the opportunity to meet some years ago on my radio show, and I just enjoy listening to you. Your tone and your pace is just amazing. But then you back it up with all the knowledge. So thank you so much for being here. And I've been getting text messages since I finished my part at 4 o'clock, and folks are like, this is amazing. You guys are really great. How do we get more of this information out to folks? And that's our goal really from this point on, is to try to get information out to everybody that wants to hear the challenges. So I don't want to dominate the conversation with my partner here, Najaah. We're supposed to be doing this together, but I was just so excited about everything. I wanted to I'm spewing right now all of this wonderful energy that I had. So.
Yeah, Jim, no worries. You are not taking over at all. I feel just as much excitement and did need a minute or two to catch my breath after that amazing fireside chat with Dr. Pamela Jolly. The word that I think about to describe this evening is just gratitude. As we discussed before, there are so many partners and people in play to make tonight and today possible. And I'm just so grateful for the work that we've all been able to do, to have folks come in community, both virtually and in person. As I shared briefly during the opening session, the rebirth of S.L.I.C literally came to me as I'm doing some work for my ICC members, listening to my power playlists. I just could not stop thinking about my members, and I was listening to music for some time. And then when that same song came on, I was like, oh, this is what I'm experiencing currently, a rebirth. And for me personally, it's so much deeper than that. I've spent most of my career in the political public policy movement space, and recently within this year have switched and shifted into venture capital. So to be able to find this beautiful blend of individuals who are actually putting their money where their mouths are, but actually preaching what they're practicing, inspired me to do a necessary and urgent career change to find my community, which is the Inclusive Capital Collective. So as we're working together to deploy various ways of innovative capital resources, whether it's through character-based lending or CDFI guaranteed bonds, making sure that folks feel heard and seen about the different things that are happening in their industries like manufacturing, and uplifting the innovations that Black and Brown innovators and capital folks have been doing for quite some time now. So the rebirth of remembrance and understanding that although we are in different times, or we are in difficult times currently, as Dr. Jolly was saying earlier, in community, all things and anything is possible.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And we started the day off with Urban Land Institute and Philadelphia Housing Development Corporation, really setting the table for the policy issues and the industry really not being a welcoming place for Black folks. And, even these two institutions who have done a lot in their own right, they had to go back and really check themselves and see how they could make changes to incorporate really working more with Black folks to be successful and not just to acquire things, right? Or just to be a part of things, but how do they start to welcome Black folks? And I think that really set the table for the day's conversation. And then we got into the Black paper, and y'all just went real deep I don't think folks really expected, those that didn't know about the Black paper prior to today, and the group of, and there weren't any ladies on, but there are ladies behind the scene that you guys just didn't see. I'm sorry, Miss Najaah, other than Miss Najaah, but from a development perspective, who are really back there supporting the brothers that were on the call today, and really wanting to get that information out. And Lanier really changing the narrative on capital and how we really need to reconsider these things. And our good friend Avery, in 2 sessions, really getting the impact out about, we have to do this collectively. We're not going to be able to do this individually. We really have to work with each other to do this collectively. So I thought that really kicked off, those 2 sessions really kicked us off to get started with.
Yes, Jim, I could not agree with you more. And then, of course, our session on inequities and racial lending disparities. It's so beautiful and powerful. And honestly, I see this with the Black Squirrel Collective, or how I work with you all. The ability of having different perspectives, but respectfully being able to voice and hear what the other person is saying. I loved how there were different points of views and how this should be fixed, or how we should look at racial disparities in lending. So really powerful, and appreciate the tension points that are actually opportunities for learning. And we see that all the time in the work that we do together. I can't help, Jim, but to think, when you mentioned we've been putting this event on together for about 2 months or so, just the journey of Black Squirrel and how they were able to, or how they started and became a member of the ICC and what that looked like, and all the success and all the community impact that Black Squirrel has been able to do in Philadelphia. I would love to take a minute to just talk more about that and what Black Squirrel has done and has been doing, I would say, since 2019. So about 3 years with the Inclusive Capital Collective.
Yeah, it's been really a great journey. And I got to thank Kevin for including me into that journey, because before we ever created Black Squirrel, Kevin's like, Jim, Tom, I think you guys need to join this group, Inclusive Capital Collective. They're talking about a lot of really cool things that you guys are both involved in, capital and delivering capital to small businesses, especially for people of color, and you guys should join. And initially, quite frankly, it's like, do I need another meeting to go to listen to people talk about this, that, and the other thing? But the great part about it is we were able to really think about opportunities to make impact immediately. And especially in the real estate group that was led by Sean, we really were able to think of, well, what can we do now? And as we started to think of what can we do now, kind of Black Squirrel came out of that, those conversations. And I see Joyce Smith, who has hung in there literally all day. And Joyce is from one of the neighborhoods that we're actually looking to work in. And she has been a huge advocate for her community, and making sure that the residents have a voice in, because they're going through the big G of gentrification in her community. But she wants to see positive things happen with the people of community being a part of that. So Joyce, I really thank you for hanging out and being here. And yes, you're working really hard with the resident stakeholders, and we're going to change that to resident investors as we move forward, because we really want you guys as a part of this and also to be able to benefit financially. But Tom and Kevin, when we saw an opportunity for, well, what's the problem? And quite frankly, it came from one of our councilmen's office, and a good friend of ours, and one of my former employees, Charla Russell, who came to me and said, Jim, why can't people get properties out of PHDC? So here's this circle coming back around, right? So why can't Black folks get properties out of PHDC to do development? And I kind of giggled, like, you know, I know, and we got to figure some things out. But at the same time, Angel was having these same questions with Dave Thomas, their leadership team, trying to figure out ways that, hey, where's the pain points for this? And if the pain points are in really getting them through the process, not in their capacity, let's figure out how we can get them through the process, since they already have the ability to build these properties. And so as we started to talk with them and ULI and other advisors, we really came to the point of Black developers in Philadelphia just haven't had the opportunity to leverage their skill sets and their resources and take advantage of it. And for us, those additional pain points were with capital and with property. And so if we could identify a source of property, hence PHDC, and then a source of capital, our local CDFIs, and in particular Black-led CDFIs, that can drive the capital to these developers on a regular basis so that Angel and his team don't have to worry about the money being there. We can do that and move the process forward. So we're excited. My partners are here. I don't want to, again, take any of their wind away. If there's anything else you guys want to share with that, please do so.
No, you're doing great, man. I mean, that's how it happens, and that's how we've been ever since I met you and we created Be Smart, and now it's Black Squirrel, Tom and I in different ways, and now we're coming together for this is the real deal here. I think it was Dr. Jolly who talked about this being a legacy project. That's pretty much, how you have to look at it. We have to play the long game, and there's a lot of moving pieces. And I think we've shown ourselves capable of bringing people to the table, whether it's the city and the mayor, or if it's PHDC or councilmen. I mean, that's what our job is. Let's bring people to the table to pull the solutions together, and then we execute. Very similar to how we ended up sitting here together tonight and executing this program. So, is what we do. We're going to continue to do it in different ways.
But I can just add one thing. I think it just lends itself to what Pamela pointed out about the value of relationship capital.
Absolutely.
I think everything that we demonstrated here tonight, from having the Science Center and Venture Cafe host the event for us, our partnership with ICC, with Najaah being here tonight, as well as you look at the people we had on our panel, who are people who normally don't interact with our community, on a consistent ongoing basis, from Land Bank to ICC, from the Real Estate Investment Fund, from ULI, the conversation goes on. And what that really is reflective of the relationship capital that Black Squirrel has produced, over the last 2 years. All the other pieces are going to fall in place, I have no doubt, with the talent we have, between the three of us and our network that we bring. But more importantly, understanding that nuance, and as we like to put, Black Squirrel being the nexus, is what everything that tonight represents in terms of bringing that all home. So, you know, I just want to give a shout out to my good friend Pamela for stepping in and being our keynoter. Pamela, thank you so much. You were phenomenal as usual. You know, there was never no doubt how fabulous you were going to be. Najaah, you did a wonderful job in co-hosting this event for us and keeping, as Jim pointed out, me and Kevin in line. And Angela, you and your team, thank you so much for everything, you know, especially this week, to make what we see on the outside look flawless compared to what we were challenged with on the flip side. So but it's been wonderful, and I'm just another proud moment for something for me to be a part of.
No, definitely want to shout out to Angela and the Venture Cafe team. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for everything.
Well, I'm going to share something that I think it's really important for folks that are really interested in following Venture Cafe and being a part of it every Thursday, is you get to have a little bit of wine or beer while you're in person versus on the screen to enjoy while you're having your networking and everything else. Yeah,
when you're on screen, our water bottle.
Right. You know, I want y'all to enjoy it. And I know y'all had it because, you know, you're speaking and you want to make sure that your vocal cords are really great. But I'm off the clock. And so right now, since I'm off the clock, I have a little bit of the wonderfulness that is Venture Cafe. And of course, I'm just joking, but it is one of the benefits of being here live and in person for Venture Cafe. So again, Angela, Tracy, Emily, I think there's one other person I'm missing, Jen, Jen,
Jake, everybody.
Yeah, I saw Jake pop in there. Yeah.
So
well, thank you guys. That's really sweet of you. Y'all have been great to work with. This event was so good. I just want to say, like, I knew it was going to be good, but it was like so good. So thanks for bringing it to Venture Cafe. And, you know, we loved hosting you. Hopefully we can host you again sometime.
Oh, don't worry. We're coming back in person.
Don't scare him, Tom. Don't scare him.
Yeah, let a couple days go by so she can rest.
Well, great.
Najaah, thank you again too, and all of our speakers. You know, Della Clark to me is one of the jewels of not just Philadelphia, but for the CDFI industry, as she is constantly looking for new ways to really deliver capital and resources to the Black community, especially, you know, the one thing that I think is really important, and I think it came up in one of the conversations, we really have to make sure that folks don't see, we're constantly paying this risk tax, you know, this perceived risk tax, or it's a perceived, we should do this for Black folks because it's charity. This ain't charity. We actually good at this stuff. And we deserve the equity as much as anybody else and shouldn't be perceived of it as being charity. It is what we are entitled to. And it's one of the things that I've always taken from my grandmother, who said, you belong in any space you're present. And don't be, you know, afraid of that space, embrace that space. And, you know, I think that we have to do that and make sure that folks understand when you're doing business with us, this is business. I don't need your sympathy. Not here for sympathy. We're here to work together. And I think this goes back to what Dr. Jolly was saying in terms of equity. We need to be a part of that equity and demand that we're a part of that equity as we move forward too.
Amen.